I am trying to find words to make it clear just how weirded out I still am by the fact that there's not much more college football to discuss. Uh, Division II national championships are almost upon us. The first round of the college football playoffs. We've had our first few bowl games. Shout out to the Old Dominion Monarchs. A million years ago, when Old Dominion didn't have a football team, Norfolk State played its home games at Foreman Field on the campus of Old Dominion University. So I've always had a soft spot in my heart. And of course, I grew up watching Old Dominion women's basketball. Shout out to Ing Nissen and young Ann Donovan, Nancy Lieberman, Rhonda Rompola, Angela Kottman. They ran roughshod in those days over everybody. I think they had about almost a 2-year stretch where they didn't lose a single game. But that's not why we're here today. To discuss the amazing run that Marianne Stanley had after leaving Immaculata and landing at Old Dominion with that amazing program she built. We are here to talk about the dwindling days, the last few precious days of college football after this round of playoffs. Oh, also, I'm going to announce, and I'll cut a promo video about this. I don't know if Matt's available, but I will be joining the Last Words guys for the sort of interstitials. So we'll have coverage at halftime and after the college football playoff games. Not all of them, but some of them.
I'm unfortunately on travel for the next 2 weeks for work, and I'll be in Oklahoma.
Oh,
I'll be in his neck of the woods there.
Say hi to Nolan. Actually, Nolan is super friendly, and he has a nice. I mean, you didn't hear it from me. He has a nice house. Yeah. So,
yeah, I'll be in his back. I'll be an hour south of Tulsa.
Okay. Which is not super close, but Oklahomans don't mind drives. So, still, he'll figure out a place between here and there to meet you, and he'll tell you where to find some fire ass barbecue. But that also is not why you're here. You're not here to hear me give fantastic restaurant recommendations for Oklahoma. Oklahoma. Oklahoma is okay. No, you're here because we're going to break down not only the college football playoffs, but as I'm sure all of you are waiting with bated breath to hear, Ferris State and Harding. Now, for those of you who are new to Ferris State football, Ferris State is an absolute killing machine. They are just an absolute what NDSU for many years has been in FCS football, what Mount Union for many years has been in Division III football. Shout out to Wisconsin, Whitewater, and some others who have occasionally interrupted their dominance. But Ferris State has built something. Tony Anise, I am just shocked. I mean, I guess he's a lifer, but I'm shocked that there haven't been multiple times that he hasn't been plucked away by a MAC program or some larger program. He is a fantastic football player.
I mean, look how long it took Willie Fritz. Willie Fritz was at Central winning he never won the powerhouse like Ferris State, but Willie Fritz was at Central Missouri for like 15 years.
And they were good every year. You're right. Yep. But yeah, Tony Anise has built something truly special. I don't think he is guaranteed to be drafted out of this game, but there'll be somewhere between 8 and 10 players in NFL camps, I think. They're going to play in this game. And then a couple of players will find their way to bigger programs. This game will be watched, in case you're wondering.
I mean, we'll be talking about one of those players later in this game with the Ole Miss.
Yes, right. Of course, Trinidad Chambliss. Shout out to my friend Jordan Gaganarado, who loves Trinidad Chambliss. Now, I've been a Chambliss guy for a while because I did watch him at Ferris State. And Ferris State runs a fascinating offense because it's got elements of like that slow mesh stuff. It's got elements of power run, like some veer blocking and wedge blocking. It's got some like pistol, and it's got some of everything. It's got a lot. It's a gumbo offense. But first and foremost, they want to run the ball down your throat. They do want to do that. They want to definitely cram that ball all the way past your larynx. And then after that, they're going to throw the ball at you, right? After you've been beaten and bloodied, they'll throw the ball at you. So it's a really fun team to watch if you like a diverse offense and an aggressive defense. They're aggressive on offense too. I get an aggressive team. And then Harding, to its credit, who also has their offense is more like traditional flex bone, but they also do some fun, wrinkly, fun stuff in their offense too. They've got a bunch of Division II, either first and second team All-Americans of their own. They're not some weak sister. They were the number 3 seed coming in. I mean, it's almost impossible to pick against Ferris State. I'd love to pick against them. I'll have to check to see what the spread is again. Maybe I'll go with them like against the spread. But
hold on. Will
they 6 or
5.5? Look at Division II. They will. Will they have a spread for this game on Division? No, they don't.
They all do.
Not on ESPN. They don't show the.
Okay. Game. But
they're both 1 seeds.
Right, but I mean, I've rephrased that. One was number 1 in the country. One was number 3 in the country.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say they were number 3 seed. That is incorrect. You're right. They were both 1 seeds, but they were both ranked in the top 3. I guess is what I should have said. These are both juggernauts, and the only thing that Harding doesn't have is the quote unquote pedigree. And I like Ferris's defense slightly better, but it's close. I mean, they're both really good defenses. And they're both really interesting offenses. Once again, just because Ferris has been there, done that a couple of times recently, I'm just leaning slightly them, but it will not surprise me at all. And it's like so many games between evenly-ish match teams, turnovers, big plays, somebody that finds something in special teams. I mean, it's a cliche for a reason. We say that over and over again because it's true. That is the kind of thing that decides these kinds of games because these kinds of teams are super evenly matched.
Yeah, Harding have been building something special for the last 3 or 4 years too.
Right.
It's hard to go against Ferris State right now. They're just such a dominant powerhouse in the Division II. I mean, I don't want to go for any of these teams because Harding knocked out my alma mater in the playoffs in an ugly fashion 2 years ago. So I always have a little prickler against that. But I don't want Ferris State. It's like you mentioned a whole bunch of powerhouses. You want to talk about the powerhouse of Division II in the early 2000s was Northwest Missouri State.
Yes,
they won like 13 national championships under that head coach. It was insane.
Yeah, that is insane. They did a really good job of getting guys that bounced back, like guys that were D1 guys dropping down, and they also did a great job of working the junior college system. And if you can do those two things, I mean, where they're located, there's a lot. I mean, the Jayhawk Conference in Kansas is, if not the best junior college football in the country, it's never lower than the 3rd best. I mean, Texas always has good JUCO football. Mississippi has really good JUCO football. In California has really good JUCO football year in and year out. But the Jayhawk Conference is never lower than 3rd best in the country. Sometimes it's the best.
That was always the big thing. Always talking about living in that region was the Jayhawk division. The JUCO. Like I had many of friends when I went to Central Missouri who never got anywhere else but played in the Jayhawk JUCO conference.
Oh yeah, I mean Hutchinson has produced at least one of the Lockets started their career at Hutchinson. I can't remember which one. There's so many Lockets, but I know at least one. It might have been the first one. The father of Tyler, and others, who I think might have actually started his career at Hutchinson. And I think all but one of the Lockets, I think, got a chance to play for the legend, right? The builder of Kansas State football. I mean, Kansas State football went from being almost literally lost in the wilderness, almost literally. I mean, I watched Kansas State football they didn't get televised very often back in the old days, to be perfectly honest. But around the 80s, sometimes in the early 70s, but usually in the 80s, you start to see them more and more. And they were usually almost a guaranteed win for people. And to see, what happened to that program. Once again, you saw about another coach who waited a long time to get his chance, right? Bill was an assistant for ever. Right, 20-something year assistant at the collegiate level before he finally got a chance, and then he obviously made the most of it. And
was the head coach for Kansas State forever. Good old Bill.
Yeah, and now they've named, and rightfully so, named the field.
And then they bring another. Like it's the most Kansas State thing. to bring in Connor Klein to be the new head coach too.
Oh yeah. And I'm with the. I mean, it continues the line, right? It's the. I mean, he was practically an adopted son, so it makes sense. It's a good hire, and frankly, because he's so beloved there, they'll give him if he could have 3 bad seasons back to back, and they would be like, okay, he's building something, right?
It would have been. It was like Daniel Holgerson. It never made no sense to leave West Virginia. West Virginia would have never fired Daniel Holgerson. He let, and it was the most confusing. It would be the same with Connor. Connor can go 5-6, 6-6, 7-5 for his whole career. You know, with a sprinkle 10-win seasons.
Yeah,
and Kansas State won't get rid of him.
Right. Well, if he sprinkles in too many 10-win seasons, somebody will lure him away. I think the days of Bill Snyder where guys stay 23 years or whatever at the same place, I don't know if we see that anymore. Like that might be just flat out gone.
I mean,
the Power 4 level at least.
Yeah, unless you're at the big, like, would Ryan Day ever leave Ohio State? I mean, it would have to be
for the NFL. Yeah, only the NFL, right? There's no place to go in college except the NFL. I mean, that's the only place I can see him. And he does have some NFL coaching experience. So
there's like Dan Lanning. I don't know if he leaves Oregon. I would have said
NFL only, right? To those guys, for some of those guys, there's still that nagging, that thing that, well, could I do it at the next?
Yeah, Jim leaving Michigan, like. He proved nothing left. He won a national, and now he wants to go get a Super Bowl.
Right. Pete Carroll, it always bothered him that he had been, kind of a middling coach at the NFL level. He got a chance to win it all multiple times at the collegiate level, then managed to almost win it twice, but won it all at the NFL level. And now he's one of those rare guys who's probably going to be, inducted twice into, both the college and the Pro Hall of Fame. But
100%.
Yeah,
he rebuilt USC in the collegiate level. I mean, he
rebuilt them. Yeah, they had been great. Obviously, you may not be quite old enough to remember when USC was an absolute juggernaut powerhouse, going years where they would lose 1 game or 0 games year after year after year, all throughout John McKay. And then McKay eventually got to the NFL and coached with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In fact, he was their first coach. And then John Robinson, who also coached the NFL level with the Rams, John Robinson came in and had almost parallel success. And it wasn't really until after John Robinson that things began to kind of downslide, and the Ted Tollner, the dark days of Ted Tollner, and a few others that passed through, Lane Kiffin and Sarkisian and others.
So, and that just sucks for Sark, because I mean, look at what Sark, he had to rebuild himself and prove himself, and now he's one of the best college coaches. That's another one. That's a good. I don't think Sark would ever leave Texas unless Texas forced him out, or he would go.
Once again, unless he goes to the NFL, where once again another guy who has a fair amount of NFL coaching experience. So that's the only way. Once you get to a certain plateau in college,
I mean, these guys like Matt Campbell and staying at Iowa State for his whole career, you're not going to see. It was the same with Chris Peterson at Boise State forever. Everybody thought, nope, he lost and ran off to Washington.
Well, here's what and once again, I won't be shocked if Michigan at least places a call to Chris Peterson's agent just to be sure that he's really retired, because I would make that call.
I would, yeah. I mean, they need that again. They need to nuke that football program, because they're just under a microscope right now. They just need to completely blast anything and set a fire, and nothing left of the old regime left, and just try to build something new.
Yeah, my calls would be in whatever order, perhaps David Shaw, Chris Peterson, David Shaw, because both of them have completely spotless reputations.
Yes.
Right. And they both can really coach. Stanford just ran into modern college football, and Stanford wasn't ready for modern college football. And that's, what happened to him at Stanford was just they weren't ready or equipped to change with the times.
I like those two. I don't know if they could coach in today's college football. Like,
I'd be willing to try it.
I don't even Nick proved he could. Nick Saban, obviously, but I don't like. Everybody's like, well, Nick has to be a call. You call and you offer him the moon, but he's not coming out. Like, Miss Terry won't.
Well, also, I don't want to. I mean, he could coach anywhere, and he's coached at Michigan State, so he knows how to obviously, coach a cold weather team. I just think that they need a different type of personality than Saban's, because Saban.
Rumor is Dillingham. It's pretty much like the worst kept secret right now. Okay. It sounds like it's going to be Dillingham.
I don't dislike that move. It's just, I mean, he's 39. Is that right?
And he's at his alma mater.
Right. And I think he's 39, right? Which, ironically, I think is almost exactly the same age as Sherrone Moore. I think they need a slight. I don't. Maybe they disagree, but I would want a slightly more seasoned hand at the till just because of the rough waters.
It's either they think they go young and try to get someone with a spotless record, or a lot of Michigan fans are saying keep Biff for a year, do what Stanford did with Frank Wright, just let that guy be the intern for a year, let him get rid of everything, and then do a whole proper coaching search for a year and get prepared for next season. You're so late in the game now.
Right. That's what I think will happen. I think I'm talking about what I would at least try. These are Hail Marys, but I would definitely kick the tires on Chris Petersen and David Shaw. And if either of them says, yes, I'm interested, I'm going to keep pursuing. Because I like Biff Poggi, right? He's a fun interview. He loves ball. Like, this guy doesn't need to work, right?
He brings back the Brady Hoke, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Which now, they wouldn't mind a Brady Hoke, because not to say winning doesn't matter, because winning always matters. But
right now they need a culture.
Right now, right, exactly. Right now they need to flush. They need to clean everything out. And that's why I know a guy like David Shaw and Chris Petersen would do that. And obviously, rocking for a year with Biff Poggi, it's going to hurt you a little bit in terms of things like pure recruiting and stuff like that.
But he's a good recruiter. People don't like. But Biff is the reason
don't be wrong.
A lot of players are there.
I'm not saying he's not a good recruiter. What I'm saying is the sales pitch is radically different.
100%. Yeah,
that's what I'm putting. And you think the kids don't know, just like you and I know, this guy's warming a seat for a year?
I mean, it's going to definitely hurt you for a year, but you got to just understand that that's going to be for a year. You're Michigan. You're going to have the money. You're not going to have to pay Sherrone. So you're not going to be hurting there. You might lose some recruits for a year. I mean, you obviously can throw more money at the NIL kids, like the NIL, and try to keep kids for a season. Like, hey, we understand, this is what we're building to try to keep like a Bryce Underwood and some of these other big Justin Hayes, try to have him come back for another year.
Right.
But yeah, I think I'll be interested to go. From what apparently the rumors around Michigan and Ann Arbor is that they're doing a proper investigation into the whole thing, and they are potentially going to flush and do a good detox of the whole program and try to start fresh. And there might be no decision until after the bowl game.
Okay. And I could, once again, I can understand that. And I might even do something, if not exactly the same, at least similar, just because of the situation. Nonetheless, I would still at least make them tell me no. I would make
Nick Saban, David Shaw, Chris P, all those guys that retired at a young age. Not Nick, obviously, but David Shaw.
Not so much young there. And I just, once again, I think that you need someone who is not just all ball in this situation, because Nick's all ball, right? He's not going to be there to like guide and hold hands. He's going to kick people right in the squarely right between their cheeks.
Yeah.
And just because of the situation, that might not be ideal.
I thought if it wasn't too late and this happened earlier, I thought Pat would have been a really good fit.
Oh, yeah.
He goes to the rival with Michigan State, but I thought Pat Fitzgerald would have been a really good fit.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, once again, that's a guy that now he
never had program issues.
Right. He just dealt with his own scandal, so that's the only issue with him. But yeah, okay. We spent enough time on that.
We could probably move on to the college football.
We could definitely move on. College football playoffs are actually here, Matt. Like, they're here.
It doesn't believe like it. I think it's September, Bill. It's September, right? We're talking about the season starting.
It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And now, we'll be talking about all the games, and I'm particularly intrigued by the clash of cultures, styles, and everything between a place like Miami, usually Miami, and a place like Texas A&M. One's in College Station, Texas. I don't know if you've been there before, but it's about as different from a place like Miami as two places can be from each other in the same country, right? Miami is like this. I mean, it's got some of everything, obviously, like any other big American city, but it may be like outside of maybe Las Vegas, it might be the undefeated nightlife champion in America. And then College Station is not, I think is the word I'm looking for. Especially if you're more than 22 years old. College Station may lose a bit of its charm in terms of things to do at night. Obviously, they're very different size cities, very different in terms of just the mix of individuals. Now, the two programs are not as disparate or as different because they're both big-time college programs, and now they're both national recruiters. The term national recruiter is almost
it's not recruiting anymore. It's
I guess almost every big program is now. It used to be like schools like Pitt would mostly recruit kids from Southwestern PA and get the occasional kid from Ohio for spice, right? That's how they did it. I mean, just look at the number of guys who just came from Aliquippa High by itself or Central Catholic or whatever. And I mean, they basically recruited the big Catholic schools in the Pittsburgh area, the big public schools in the Pittsburgh area, a few rural Pennsylvania schools, and like I said, a few Ohio kids for spice. And every once in a while, somebody from Florida or whatever. But now, almost every big-time program is getting kids from everywhere. Now, you can still be Georgia and mostly recruit South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. And once again, for flavor, throw in the occasional Texan, Californian. So there are a few exceptions, but most of the big-time programs are, when I say national recruiter, I guess that applies almost everybody who's a big-time program. But coaching styles are somewhat different. Cristobal is often criticized for a lot of things, right? What people call cristobaling, right? Where you go into a game that everyone in the world thinks you're going to win, and then you end up losing by 13 points. So that kind of thing, right? That's what people call cristobaling. But despite that, he has a really good winning percentage, right? We can pick at certain things, but the guy has a top 12 or 13 amongst active coaches, I think, in terms of winning percentage, out of 130 some odd FBS programs. So he's in the top 10% or so in win percentage, despite all the criticisms. Mike Elko, I don't know if he's coached enough games. I guess he has to show up on the rankings, but he's probably also near, if not quite at near that level, maybe top 20, 25, maybe not top, 10 or 13, 10 or 11. But these are both guys who win consistently and somewhat differently, right? For a long time, Miami was one of the pro-style offenses. They held out longer than, USC, Miami, a few others held out. Alabama held out longer than most before they went spread. Now they are a spread team, like everybody. It's some version of spread, except for triple option. That's it now, right? It's now either spread or you run some version of option.
Yeah, you don't see gun, you don't see pro offenses anymore.
Yeah, nobody's running a true Norm. Look at what Norm Chow used to run. It's funny because at one point, what Joe Tiller was running at Purdue was thought of as this wild, crazy, commie ball. At some point, he jokingly called what he did at Purdue when he had Drew Brees and Orton and that bunch.
I would say Michigan does it. The most realistic to
close-ish
I formation, run it down.
But it's what I call I-form power spread, right?
Yeah.
It's still using a lot of spread offensive principles, but they line up in I. They have
to go with Bryce, though. If they had a JJ, they were running it more, but they don't have the right quarterback in that system. But let's just be honest. Miami doesn't belong in the college football playoffs? They don't. Everyone wants to talk about losses. They have the 2 worst losses of any college football team in SMU and Louisville. They're both.
I wouldn't call SMU a bad loss.
It's a bad loss. They're a 5-loss team. It's a bad loss. We like SMU. I'm not trying to hate on SMU. SMU had a down year, but SMU is considered a bad loss this year. So is Louisville. Louisville fell apart late. They had to bench their starting quarterback.
To me, the Louisville loss is the one that really kind of hangs around their neck. I think SMU, when it plays its best, is capable of being a lot of teams.
I agree. I mean, I do like the SMU team. They had a down year. I do think they did the right thing, keeping their head coach and everything. But those teams gave you the recipe. There was probably the stronger rosters that they faced, that Miami faced this year. And when they showed you how to beat the Miami offense. And it's a very easy thing. And guess what Texas does? Exactly what can destroy Carson Beck.
Yep.
I would not be shocked if Carson Beck has another 5-interception game and Texas A&M rolls through Miami, proving that Miami should not be in the playoff. I honestly have the smash button on the cover and saying Texas A&M beats them by 14-17.
Okay.
I don't think Miami definitely at Texas A&M. I don't think I don't know how you put a team who couldn't even make it to their championship game into the college football playoffs.
Well, neither of them did, right? I mean,
Texas A&M is different. I mean, the ACC is a very weak conference, and they couldn't even make it into their conference championship game. They lost to 2 bad teams. Duke won the national conference championship.
Right.
And I know you love that because you love your Duke and you love Mensa, but Miami, I don't understand. Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, all different. They couldn't make their playoffs. So many teams can make their the college the playoffs or the championship in their conference, in a strong conference. The ACC, we joked around and say, are they even considered a Power 4 conference with how weak their opponents are? And Miami could not even win that division, that conference, get to the conference championship. Georgia Tech lost, and they should have probably been in, but Miami has really 2 bad losses. I can't say that enough. I truly think that the front 7 of Texas A&M is going to have a field day with the old line and pressure with Carson Beck and throwing multiple picks. I at least see 2 picks being thrown by Carson Beck in this game. And that's going to be too many for them to recover from. I don't think they're there.
So I don't fully disagree, but if Miami wins, here's how they do it. They have some truly dynamic offensive weapons.
Yes. They have the freshman wide receiver of the year.
The best freshman wide receiver in the country. They have some other receivers who are pretty darn good. Even though they've had injuries at running back, their running back room is still a pretty decent one. They have tight ends who are going to play in the NFL.
Loaded roster. I'm not trying to say this Miami roster is not bad. A loaded team, lots of great talent. This is more on Carson Beck and Mario Cristobal.
Right. Now, that's the only reason I'm not disagreeing with you more forcefully is I don't trust either Mario Cristobal or Carson Beck. So I have to mildly push back. Otherwise, this would be a very boring segment. But I think that if Carson Beck plays essentially the best game of his college career, which, I mean, it's not impossible.
It's not outlandish to say, but it's near it.
I didn't say it was likely, but it's not insanely difficult to imagine that he could. He might just go out there and ball out. We have seen him ball out, but not in these settings, right? He sometimes will play like a first-round draft pick, but it's usually against second-tier competition, admittedly. But if he puts it all together, and let's say he keeps it to one tipped ball interception, right? I can't see him not having an interception. Let's say it's one tipped ball interception.
It's hard. There's going to be interception.
Right. Let's say it's just one little tip ball interception. He keeps it to one turnover. He goes for 29 of 36 for 327 and 3 touchdowns passing, 1 touchdown running, right? Is that impossible? No. Is it unlikely? Sure, I'll admit that. But he has the best game, like the best game, fantastic game. Miami's defense forces at least 2 turnovers, right? They win the turnover 2-1. And their running game, which comes and goes, is at least consistent. Not devastating, not dominant.
Get 100, at least get 90 to 100 yards. At least something.
Yeah. I mean, they earn their keep, basically, right? If that happens, this name goes right down to the wire, and I could see somebody like Malachi Corley, somebody making a big play that gives it to them. They could put him. I would have him return punts and kicks. I'd be getting the ball in his hands every kind of way you can.
If you want a chance, you have to let Tony touch the ball everywhere you can.
Right, because he is the kind of guy that can. You can't win a football game by yourself. No. However, the right player in the right place at the right time can turn the game in such a way that they are the reason you win the game. Mm-hmm. Right?
Just a few extra big plays can change the outcome of a game.
That's what I'm going to point out. That's where I think Miami at least has what they call a puncher's chance, right? As long as you have big play players, and they do. They've got big play players. They've got players that even when the scheme isn't great, even when the defense is in the right place, has the right call on, they have players that can still make a defense wrong, but the defense does the right thing.
Yes. I mean, you're all right. I just think the Texas A&M front four is going to dismantle the running game, put it into Carson Beck's hands to win the game, and there the game's over. I don't used to love Carson Beck. I thought Carson Beck was QB1, going to get drafted, and I love it was, of course, it was like 3 years ago. First, I was like obsessed with Beck, and I was just like, yeah, he's the next Stafford, he's the next big thing coming out of Georgia. Woo, was I wrong? But I mean, luckily because it slowly just come down. And now he's just at the bottom of the Grand Canyon looking up like.
He'll still get drafted. He'll get drafted probably even fairly early day 3. But because
that just proves how bad this quarterback class is.
That's part of it. And once again, there's a lot of big egos in the NFL, my friend.
I can fix him. He has all the tools. I can fix him.
There's people who will see, and they'll see enough. They won't say, "Oh, I found a white Josh Freeman." They will say to themselves, "Yes, you just said he's got the frame is NFL. He looks like an NFL quarterback, right?" People talk themselves into guys all the time. I remember having debates in the very early days of draft Twitter when it first started regarding Gabbert, right? Blaine Gabbert. And there were people who loved Blaine Gabbert because he looked like an NFL quarterback. I get how that happens. You look at him, he's athletic. He's 6'4". He's touring. Well, now he's 230 something, but he was 220 something in those days, 226. Can run. I think he ran the low 4.6s, the high 4.5s, big arm. I get all that, right? I really do. But right, right. At some point, if you're not wired, if you can't eat pressure, right, and what's the old saying, and piss excellence, right? If that's not how you're wired, I brought up Josh Freeman, right? All the talent in the world, but just wasn't wired, especially to be coached hard, right?
Yeah.
He didn't like being coached hard. He and Schiano famously did not get along. But once again, you hear to help me talk about why certain players don't make it. I'm just saying, if it all comes together, while that is not super, super, super likely, they have the talent mix. They have the kinds of players that can take plays that shouldn't work and make them work. That's all I'm saying. I too believe that it's probably maybe not quite as many points as you, but I'm thinking like an 8-point win. It's probably what I'm feeling more for Texas A&M.
I'm saying I wouldn't be shocked if it's a 14, 17-point victory. I do think it's a double-digit victory. Oh. I do think a 10-point victory is not, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's a 2-touchdown, 3-score game. I just think Texas A&M is pissed. They lost the last game of the season, got themselves knocked out of the SEC championship in a bye.
Yep.
I think Texas A&M is going to come out and prove it wasn't a fluke that they, I think Miami's lined up to just kind of get rolled over and Texas A&M try to make a proving stance.
Okay.
Elko's a good coach, and Elko's a little pissed after the loss. And I think he's gonna, and then Reed got a little snub not getting an invite. So I think there's enough about this Texas A&M team being being kind of left out because they've lost.
Salty. Yeah, I agree. They're probably a little salty. There's several pro prospects in this game. Ruben Bain has, depending on who you talk to, a top 10 or top 15 grade.
Have you heard that his size is a major concern and people have him as a day 2 grade?
Yeah, I've heard that. Arm length, blah, 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 blah. Somebody will take him before the first round's out. I am almost 100% sure. He won't make it past the Ravens. He won't make it. There's a bunch of teams that he won't make it past. But yeah, he might go later than people were originally projecting.
Yeah, it's just that he has some of those size concerns that would make him a unicorn for his, doesn't mean he can't be successful, just means it historically makes it harder.
Yeah, he might, like I said, might be a little of a scratch and dent discount because of that. Most people have a top 50 on Casey Concepcion.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of some of the sort of like Akeem Mesidor. I'm a huge Akeem Mesidor guy. And he's a good fit for what the Steelers like. That sort of guy who can play interior and kick outside a little bit as well. Maaga, right? Going to go in the first 75 or so picks probably. Cassius Howell's another guy that's going to go somewhere in the top 50. Le'Veon Moss depends on what he runs, right? Top 100, top 125, could go all the way up to top 50, top 40, even if he runs a blazing fast time. Your boy Carson Beck, probably looking like it,
I would put him in the day 6. I would put him day 3, round 6, round 7.
He'll go before that, but he'll go. He probably won't make it out of the 4th. But I hear what you're saying. I mean, he has flaws. He has significant flaws. But
I'm just saying that because of recent events. Like, we thought all these quarterbacks were going to go round 3, round 2, and then they just kept sliding. And then finally the run happened in round 5 and 6.
Yeah.
So I don't know why. It seems like that middle round now, teams are just saying, pass on the quarterback and then get them in the 5th, 6th rounds. And kind of that third,
and
fourth.
That could happen, but I have a feeling it gets pushed up the board a little bit. That's just the feeling I have.
You could be 100% right. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know. His tape hasn't been great for the last 2 years.
No. We agree there. I was, unlike you, I was never sold on Beck. So
yeah.
I was always a kind of a Beck skeptic. But I also know how NFL front offices think.
The team who ever drafted him that early, those fans are going to be very upset.
There's going to be some team, once again, how this works. They'll say, now it's the 4th round.
Now
we don't middle of 4th. He's a bargain now, blah, blah, blah. They'll talk. Somebody will talk themselves into it. And then we'll leave the 3rd. The corner who's got length and strength, sort of like a poor man's Marlon Humphrey, back when Marlon Humphrey was a big, strong corner. Maybe not quite as strong, maybe not quite as polished, but some similar qualities. So yeah, there'll be some dudes who are gonna,
Reed could declare. He's a redshirt sophomore. I think it'd be smart for him to go back, but
he could. I haven't heard anything indicating that he will, but I mean, you're right. It's a weak QB class. I'm sure at least kick the tires on the idea, but I think he and Mensa, I both hear are likely to stay one more year.
I think that's a smart decision. Like I thought it was very smart for Sellers to stay.
Yes, very much so, because he's not ready.
No,
I mean, there are times he don't look ready for college football, so he's definitely not quite ready for the pros. Yeah. So,
did you say Halford Tech? Cash? Yeah, you did.
I mentioned him briefly. I think that worst case scenario, you're getting probably a really good player.
That Texas defense, that whole Texas A&M defense. There's probably at least 4 or 5 guys getting drafted within that defense this upcoming draft.
Yeah, there's gonna be several guys who are gonna have long, successful NFL careers who are going to come out of off that defense. And I guess we'll knock out at least one more of the games. Alabama, Oklahoma. That's a fun one. Obviously a rematch. Where are you leaning on that game?
It's going to be interesting with that one. The big thing, and it's funny because Michigan fans are being salty about it. This could be the first time in a regular season or in a single season, Alabama could lose to the same team twice. Both offenses are been bad of late. Ty Simpson looked really good early on, mid-season, in this last month. That Alabama offense has been very up and down, very subpar. I'm trying to be correct and nice and not try to say they've been awful, but they haven't been great. That's the same with Oklahoma. So this is going to be, I think, the over and under for this 40, and I think that's about correct. I mean, 20 points a team. I think both of these offenses are going to be ugly. I think it's going to be a defensive battle, which will be fun to watch. Some people hate watching the defensive game. I think it's fun to watch a good defense brawl. I think it's going to come down who runs the ball.
There you go.
Both teams have struggled with running the football. Who can run the ball the best? Who can get to 14 first? I really think that's going to be the difference.
Right, who can get to 14 points? And I actually agree with you. Well, I love that you said it. Yeah, the race to 14. I think 20 points might win this game. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think 20 points might win this game. Here's the thing I'll be looking for. Does Caden Proctor show up and look like a future first rounder, or does he show up and look like a guy who's not 100% guaranteed to keep a starting job? Because he's looked at like both guys this year at various points. I think that's really a big point of inflection for Alabama, because that applies to both their running and their passing game. If Caden Proctor is bad, that means they will struggle both to run the ball and to protect their quarterback. And that could mean a loss, quite frankly.
I mean, this Oklahoma defense is scary. It's a very good defense. I mean, there's a reason they are, where they are right now is because of their defense. Yep. They are, a 10-2 team because the defense has carried them this way. That it has not been the offense. I mean, they do have one good weapon in Oklahoma and Stagna, if I'm saying that properly. He's been a great wide receiver for, the Oklahoma Sooners this upcoming season. It's going to come down to, can Maytier not turn the ball over? Maytier has 12 interceptions or 10 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. You really need the Maytier against Oklahoma or from Michigan early in the year, just running and putting dots down against his Alabama defense. This is going to be a very interesting thing. Can Ty Simpson find himself back? Can Ty Simpson be the Ty Simpson for that 5-game stretch against Tennessee and company where they were just, throwing the football and looking fantastic, and Ty being considered the number one quarterback in the class after 5 games started? I'm going to have to go Oklahoma just because it's a night game in Stillwater, and the defense and the crowd is going to be the game changing. And also, I like Brent Venables more than I like
Kellen DeBoer.
Yeah. So I'm going to go Oklahoma Sooners here. I know that's going to make some people happy and others upset. And this is nothing against me being a Tennessee fan. I just think right now Oklahoma is the better team. I think they've been playing better ball late than the Alabama Crimson Tide. I know obviously Alabama's going to have a little bit of a grudge for the loss earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so I mentioned Caden Proctor.
Yep.
When Ty Simpson was cooking, and I was once again a little skeptical of Ty Simpson, not because he's not a good player, but small sample sizes, right? This guy had only played a handful of games, and his team was pretty much 100% healthy. There's certain things that help him to look as good as he's looking, and of course, people didn't have much tape on it.
Yeah,
they didn't know what his favorite things were, that kind of stuff. So I'll be interested to see how he bounces back as this moves forward. But there's some, pivotal players for both teams that will have to have really good games in order for them to win. I already talked about Proctor. I think Overton, obviously he has a chance to have though he's been sick, he has a chance to have a big game. Jeremy Bernard is that guy that if Alabama has a mismatch player, you mentioned Satania for
Satania, thank you. I know I said it wrong.
For Oklahoma. No, well, that's once again, that's a guy you can throw like a little dump off to, and then he makes someone miss, and boom. Will somebody get that? There may only be 3 big plays, big explosive plays in the whole game.
Yeah, and we're talking about 20 plus yards. That's a big explosive play, people.
Who can get 2 out of the 3?
Yeah,
right. You mentioned the race to
14
to 20 points. Also, the race to two big plays. R. Mason Thomas, I think, is back.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if he was, because that is a big. That's the big thing is Mason being back for the Oklahoma Sooners.
Yeah, I think he is. So that I think will also be helpful if they are missing R. Mason Thomas. Their defense looked good even without him, but
it's he's the leader of that defense.
Right. That's the point I was about to make too. Yeah, exactly. And I think that I believe he has returned.
He doesn't.
Yeah, he's cleared. I know he's been cleared to play. So it doesn't guarantee he plays, but apparently the belief is that
he will play.
Yeah, because 3 days ago, I believe they said he was going to be able to practice as a limited.
He might not play in full, but he might play partial snaps and big.
Yeah, right. But he's been cleared, so I think he will show up. Simpson needs to keep the truck out of the ditch. Obviously, it'd be cool if he, did some great stuff too. But just keep the truck out of the ditch, and almost the exact same thing for Mateer. Keep the truck out of the ditch.
Yeah, that's the big thing with Mateer. Mateer was considered a Heisman candidate
at one point by me.
Yeah. Mateer, it's going to be the big Ty Simpson's been pretty safe with the football season long. 26 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. That's a pretty good statistic for touchdown to interception ratio. Mateer likes to throw a pick a game, so you're going to expect it. Oklahoma can recover. That's what they got to do. They just got to make sure wherever the turnover is, it's on the other side of the field and not on this defense or the Alabama side of the field and giving them a short field, because that could be the game changer is Mateer throwing the ball away at the wrong spot, giving Alabama a short field. You got to keep the ball. You got to keep the field long. This is going to be a field position, bruising like black and blue, early 80s and 90s, late 90s and early 90s, or late 80s, early 90s NFC North Packers Bears black and blue division game where it's just going to be big blow on defenses. With your, like you said, like I said, race to 14, and then you have the team who can get 2 big plays. It's going to be 2 big plays, getting the field goal, touchdown, and then who can keep the ball on their. I could see this being both teams getting like 6 drives.
Yeah, right.
I really could see that. I could literally see three drives per team in the half. They just eat long run clocks where they're eating like 8-minute drives. It could easily be that. I would not be shocked if this game is a 13-7 game.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think I'm trying to find some things where I can disagree enough. This is at least interesting. So here's what
we can agree for once in a while, Bill.
Right. So Jam Miller, who also has battled injuries on and off the year, if he can show up and get a couple of big plays or even medium-sized plays.
I don't think he has it in him.
Yeah, I have to check to see if he's cleared to play.
No, I'm just saying I don't think Jam Miller's a good running back. I just don't think he reminds me of a Kentucky running back that Pittsburgh drafted like 3 years ago. I can't think of his name right now. He just runs right in the back of his players. Like no vision. He just like, red. I'm going to run right in the back of my offensive lineman's back and get 1 yard and then get tackled. Like he has like no vision, no explosiveness. He is just a bruising running back. And I don't know. I think it's the other running back that could potentially break it. And I was just looking at his name. It's Hill. Hill has the biggest
I know the kid. He's a sophomore, right?
Yes, Daniel Hill.
Little twitchy sophomore. Yeah. Well, either way, they're going to both touch the ball, obviously.
They are. I'm just not a big Jam Miller fan.
I get it. Well, see, this is where you, as an evaluator, and Alabama homers will diverge because they love Jam Miller. They absolutely
know they do. I really. That's one of those ones. Like, I'm usually a running back fanatic for Alabama running backs. Like, I'm a Tennessee fan. Like, I watch a running back from Alabama. I'm like, that's my guy. But Jam Miller is just not that. Like, he is and it's nothing against Jam. He's a good player. He's good. Obviously, he got recruited by Alabama, but he's not following the success of the running back heritage of Alabama running backs.
Right. And most importantly, or equally as important, he has had struggled to stay healthy.
Yeah, that's big. That doesn't matter.
Right. So if they are able to move the ball consistently with the run game and then get a couple of shots, deep shots, or even medium-sized shots. I keep saying deep. Maybe 10 to 14 might be really more realistic. But if you can get a couple of those, right, that's how you sustain drives, those 10 to 14 yards. You get three of those, you've moved 40 yards, right? Boom.
You got to stay in front of the chains. That's one thing we haven't said yet.
And that's what I'm saying. I think the team that does the best job of doing that, the team that gets very few 3rd and 8s, right? Yeah. 3rd and 8. The team that can avoid 3rd and 8 probably wins this game. I too am leaning slightly Oklahoma, but I think it's gonna be a very nip-tuck kind of game. I don't think
it could be last possession game. It could easily be the last possession game.
And I think 4 points decides the game. Just 20 to 16, 17, 13, that kind of thing.
Yeah, 13-10. I wouldn't be.
Once again, a gentle reminder. I will be hopping on to try to join Greg and Randall when they do some in-game and post-game coverage on The Last Word. So if you haven't checked out The Last Word, highly recommend it. Randall Silfer and Greg are fantastic at what they do. Do you have any last remarks before we
we have the other big games. Just look out. I think I don't think they're even worth much talking about. No, against Tulane. I do think Ole Miss, they did it once already early in the year. I think they do it again. Yeah. And then, I'm sorry, JMU.
Okay. So let me say this. I think JMU denies Oregon the cover. I think they deny.
If they do that, that's a huge win in JMU. But JMU having to go across country to Eugene to play a very upset Oregon team. Right. And Dan Lanning will probably – I think it's going to get ugly. I think that game could easily be – I wouldn't be shocked to see if it's 21-23.
I think it's ugly towards the middle, and I think when Oregon starts to let their foot off the gas a little bit, JMU comes back a little bit.
If they do that, yes, I agree. But I don't see Dan Lanning putting his foot off the gas. I think it's full throttle, 4 quarters, 60 minutes.
So you think he's going to try to put 50 on him, huh?
I'm saying he's putting 60 on him.
Okay, that's why I just think you're flat out wrong. I think as good as Oregon is, I don't think you understand how good JMU's defense is. That's a good defense. That's a really good defense.
And defense travels. I'm not saying I'm just saying Oregon got screwed last year being the number 1 seed. I think Oregon's going to come out this year and make statements.
I think they will make a statement. I just think James Madison's better than almost everyone in the world. Really.
I hope so. I don't want to see a bad game. I just don't want to see I think we all know it's going to – I don't think JMU's ever going to stay in it and oh, my God, they can win. It's going to be in the 4th quarter. They're up by 7 or they're down up by 3. I don't see that being a possibility. If JMU can keep it within 21-14, I think
they will. It might be 31-3 at the half, right? Yeah. It might even get to 38-41 even. And then but I'm not saying Dan Lanning's taking his foot off the gas. I'm saying it's just a natural human instinct to not play as hard at that point. And I think JMU gets a couple scores late and makes it a little
UCLA
more.
Say Bob could coach this game? I can't remember.
Oh, yeah. So McChesney's still coaching the team.
Okay, that does make a huge. I'd rather have Chesney over Billy.
Yeah, he's been going back and forth, but yeah, he's still coaching the team.
Okay, I couldn't. I thought they said he could.
Chesney is still the coach. Yeah.
I just couldn't remember if that was the thing or not. I mean, that does
they were fine with him continuing, and he's been splitting time a little bit, but I think the team itself is pretty darn motivated. Like, you have to understand, this is, obviously probably a once in ever kind of thing for James Madison.
Oh yeah, I think after JMU and Tulane, two group of 5 teams making it, I think it's gonna be another offseason where that gets changed.
And add to that remember, James Madison's only been in FBS for just a handful of years. So shout out to James Madison, right? The dude,
huge shout out
for just being here. Anyway, that is a quality program. And shout out to Virginia, the state, right? UVA had a really good year. ODU, like a boss, took care of a really good USF team. And, and now we've got, sturdy James Madison. Just a good year all around for Virginia Tech.
And then Virginia Tech landing the best coach in the portal. Blacksburg is having a good recruiting.
Yeah. Things are turning up. But shout out to Virginia football.
Yeah, huge.
So, on behalf of Team MBS Media, enjoy watching some great college football. I will be joining you at various points with the guys from The Last Word. Matt will be taking care of other stuff. Yeah. But we will come back prior to the next round of the playoffs, and we will do some FCS stuff, and then we may do a Senior Bowl preview, and then we'll say bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Until next August? July? One of those. July? We'll figure it out. But on behalf of that gentleman, say goodnight, Matthew.
Good night. Thank you for joining us, and have a great Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's.
Yes, exactly, everyone. And Hanukkah. And
Happy Hanukkah. Yes, you're correct. Happy holiday.
And if you celebrate Kwanzaa, help Kwanzaa Kwame gives you lots of Kuja Chagalia. And we will see you. We are all you.